Welcome to the Startup Grind. So, by many accounts, when I talk to people in Silicon Valley, and maybe some of you in this room are the same, they mention you as you're kind of like the viral godfather. Okay? And I don't mean, I should say marketing. You're not like viral, like spreading viral things almost. But you're like the viral marketing godfather. And many of these companies that you advise have really leveraged these techniques that you created, whether that's Friendly, who had incredible growth, or WeGame, who had insane growth, or High Five, who has who has a lot of users, hundreds of millions of users. So, do you think were the majority of those built off of email? And if so, going forward, can you build that type of, not you specifically, but can anyone in this room build that type of growth without leveraging email by doing some of these other channels?
Most of the companies that I advised did grow via email. So High Five did, LinkedIn did, WeGame did, etc. But Friendly, for example, grew off the Facebook platform, and so I definitely think email is still possible. Email virality is still possible today, but it's definitely not the only channel. You have another question?
Well. That kind of leads into this idea of we got founders in the room, we got people who you're sitting there, you develop this product, and then you're trying to get your first 100, your first 1,000, your first 10,000 users. What kinds of, if you were in that position without any sort of connections or user base or anything to pull from, what would be some of the first things that you would do to get that number to 1,000 or 10,000 users?
Right. I say for the first 1,000 to 10,000 users, there are a lot of ways. If you raise some money, you could actually you could just buy them. So with various ad networks, whether it's display, search, etc. I think for 1,000 to 10,000, you could try to get press. You could just build in a viral process that you start by sharing with your friends and family. And if it becomes viral enough, then you actually, if you design and engineer a product that can grow exponentially, you actually only need a small seed before it grows exponentially. So the way we grew CrushLink, for example, back in the day, was I don't know if I should admit this. We would actually go on various news groups and such about, especially ones about dating, and kind of just promoting CrushLink, and that generated maybe 10 or a couple dozen users per day, which sounds really low, but if you can generate exponential growth, then that can actually compound really quickly.
What you're seeing from companies today, or companies that come in and speak with you, or is it with these channels that are open through Facebook or through the App Store, or whatever? Are we seeing coefficients much higher than 1, and is that healthy or not?
I don't think we're seeing coefficients that much higher than 1. I mean, if you plug like 1.1 to your calculator, and you just hit times 1.1 and keep on hitting equals, it actually gets big, pretty big pretty fast. And if it was like 2, then it's it goes from 1 to 1,000 in only 10 cycles. So that would kind of create this sort of runaway growth. I think most viral things have a virality of 1 point something, and Facebook's actually a good example where they grew primarily based on email, and they're now at 850 million active users.
And they now shut off. I mean, they've largely shut off their email channels too now, right? I mean, it's set, at least the default now is it's turned off versus turned on. I guess engagement is so high that.
Do you think they're I don't know that much about Facebook's latest process, but I know that Facebook's problem is a very first-class problem that very few people have right now, which is that they have reached saturation in so many countries that it's hard to maintain virality. Because say in the U.S., 2/3 of internet users in the U.S. are already on Facebook. So if I send out a lot of invites from Facebook, then by definition, 2/3 of those are already on Facebook, so only 1/3 of them can attract new users. And so just that will cut your virality in a third. And so they're thinking about PR and all types of other ways to really reach complete domination in various countries.